Ambassador Zethkar had served on the Galactic Council for 3 centuries, long enough to witness the rise and fall of dozens of civilizations. But nothing in his vast experience had prepared him for the cold fury radiating from the human representative across the crystalline conference table. "You were warned," Captain Sarah Chen said, her voice barely above a whisper. The translator circuit struggled to convey the lethal quiet of her tone to the assembled delegates. "The first rule we established when humanity joined this council was simple: never harm our children." The Vrex delegate, his chitinous exoskeleton clicking nervously, shifted in his seat. The mining colony was deemed expendable. The strategic value of the lithium deposits far outweighed. Expendable? The word fell from Chen's lips like a death sentence. "You called a school full of children expendable?" Zethkar's 3 hearts hammered against his ribcage. He had voted against the Proxima Centauri operation, knowing the humans' reputation. Every species in the galaxy had heard the stories, the whispered warnings passed down through generations of starfaring civilizations. Don't corner a human. Don't threaten their young. Don't make them desperate. The Galactic Council had forgotten those warnings in their greed. "Captain Chen," Zethkar interjected, his voice carrying the weight of genuine regret. "The attack was not sanctioned by the full council. Councillor Vrex acted independently." Chen's laugh was sharp enough to cut steel. "Independently? With council ships? Using council authorization codes?" She stood slowly, her hands flat on the table. 347 children, Ambassador Zethkar, ages 5 to 17. They were studying xenobiology, learning about your cultures, preparing to be the next generation of peaceful explorers. The holographic display behind her flickered to life, showing the burned remains of the New Geneva Learning Center. The images were haunting: melted playground equipment, collapsed classrooms, small bodies covered by emergency blankets. The younglings were regrettable collateral damage, the Vrex delegate stammered. But the humans had refused our generous offers for the mining rights. We had to secure the resources for the greater galactic good. The temperature in the chamber seemed to drop 10 degrees. Chen smiled, and every delegate in the room felt their survival instincts scream warnings. "Regrettable collateral damage," she repeated. "I want you to remember those words, Councillor Vrex, in the days to come." She tapped her wrist communicator. "Admiral Rodriguez, execute Order 77 Alpha." Across the galaxy, the human response began. The first to fall were the Vrex mining operations in the Kepler system. Automated defense platforms that had protected the installations for decades simply stopped working. Their AI cores had been compromised months earlier by human cyber warfare specialists who had been preparing for this possibility since the day humanity joined the Council. The Vrex military responded exactly as the humans had predicted. They sent their battle fleets to the human colonies, expecting to find the scattered settlements of a relatively young spacefaring species. Instead, they found empty space and automated distress beacons broadcasting children's voices, crying for help that would never come. The Vrex fleets followed the signals deeper into human territory, their rage building with each empty system. They had fallen completely for the trap. When they finally encountered the human fleet, it wasn't where they expected. Admiral Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution, watching as Vrex Prime grew larger on the main viewer. The planet was beautiful, she had to admit. Crystalline cities rising from purple seas, bioluminescent forests covering the northern continents. It was a shame what was about to happen to it. "Admiral," her communications officer reported, "the Vrex home fleet is still 3 days out chasing our decoys in the Rigel sector." "Excellent. Begin orbital bombardment of military targets. Precision strikes only. We're not them." Rodriguez paused, then added with steel in her voice, "Yet." The Vrex had made a fundamental error. They assumed humans would react like most species, with bluster, threats, maybe a skirmish or two before negotiations resumed. They didn't understand that humans had spent millennia perfecting the art of warfare. They didn't grasp that a species capable of turning its own homeworld's resources against itself in countless conflicts would have few scruples about doing the same to aliens who murdered children. Back on the council station, emergency klaxons wailed as reports flooded in from across Vrex space. Their military infrastructure was crumbling, their communication networks compromised, their colonies cut off from the homeworld. Stop this madness! Councillor Vrex screeched, his translator barely keeping up with his rapid chittering. The council will impose sanctions. Economic blockades. Military intervention. Captain Chen, still standing calmly at her position, raised an eyebrow. With what fleets, Councillor? The Altarian Navy that depends on human-manufactured quantum cores? The Syrian Defense Force that uses our gravitational detection systems? She smiled that terrible smile again. Or perhaps the Council's own peacekeeping fleet, 90% of which uses human-designed FTL drives. The realization hit the chamber like a physical blow. In the 2 centuries since joining the galactic community, humanity hadn't just integrated, they had made themselves indispensable. Their technology was woven into every major military and civilian system across known space. You've been preparing for this, Zethkar whispered. Since day one, Chen confirmed. We learned long ago that peace requires the capability for war. We hoped we'd never need to use it. The Vrex delegate's exoskeleton was now clicking in a rhythm Zethkar recognized as extreme distress. What do you want? Chen's expression didn't change. Councillor Vrex will surrender himself for trial on charges of genocide. The Vrex Confederacy will pay reparations to the families of the victims and fund the reconstruction of New Geneva, and the Council will ratify the Child Protection Accords, making any attack on non-combatant young of any species a capital offense. And if we refuse? Another delegate asked. Chen finally sat down, her movements casual, almost bored. Then you'll learn why the first rule of the galaxy exists and why it should never be broken. Through the viewport, the delegates could see the human fleet surrounding the station. Hundreds of ships that had appeared from nowhere. Weapons trained on the symbol of galactic civilization itself. The choice, Chen said softly, is yours. Councillor Vrex's chittering had become a high-pitched whine of defeat. The vote was unanimous. Humanity had reminded the galaxy of an ancient truth. There are some lines that should never be crossed, and those who protect the innocent often have the longest memories and the sharpest teeth.